Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carlo Cruz MMA. I got a special guest today. My guest today is a top prospect. He is making his debut to the LFA. Got a huge fight, main eventing LFA 202, taking on Adrian Garcia. He is the 8-0 undefeated turbo, Mr. Phumi Nkuta. Phumi, what's going on, brother? How are you today? How are you enjoying this fine Sunday?
What's up, my friend? Cutting a little weight today, getting ready for the fight next Friday. Like you said, main event. It's time to rock out. It's time to show out. Time to show I'm the best flyweight in the world.
Absolutely. You fought on some great regional promotions from CFFC. You've even fought on Bellator. Now
Yeah,
you get to fight on LFA, obviously a promotion who's produces so many great fighters, sends them straight to the UFC. You get a main event this one, get thrown right in there with another very top guy. Did this just scream excitement as soon as you were pitched this?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Did you get excited by this opportunity the first time you heard about it?
Oh man, of course, of course. Any opportunity that comes at this point, because we've had so many guys refuse to fight me here and not sign on the dotted line here. Whenever there's another guy who's ready and game and is signing on the line, I'm excited, man. So to hear it's main event of the evening, the fact that it's main event and there isn't even a title online just goes to show you about my star power quality. So let's go. Let's try to put on a performance of a lifetime, man.
You train over at Longo's Mixed Martial Arts. Obviously, if anyone's an MMA fan, they should know who Ray Longo is, all the champions that he's produced between Marab and Matt Serra and Chris Weidman. How did your path lead you to Longo's?
It's crazy, man, because I'm actually a Jersey cat and I'm not from this area at all. And I was just applying to different schools. There was a school up the road called Hofstra right here, Garden City, New York. I don't know if you know about them, but they sent me a free application in the mail. My mom kind of forced me to sign the application. I had no intentions of even going to that school. And long story short, man, I ended up going there, and I ended up walking to the gym one day, and here we go. 11 years later, we're still rocking, we're still rolling.
You're such a top prospect. You're doing very big things on the regional scene. What is it like to be able to train with guys, have coaches who understand the sport, not even just on the regional scene, but in the UFC? They understand the business side of things. They understand how to conduct yourself, maybe strategies to use to better yourself. How do you enjoy learning that stuff from them?
Oh man, it's just I'm a fan of the sport first. You know what I mean? Like when I was younger, I was a fan when I found this sport as a kid. So, anytime I get to learn anything, I'm just happy. I'm excited. You know what I mean? Like there were times where I would have killed to even be in the position I'm in, especially way back in the day when I first found this sport. So, you know, fast forward all these years later, I'm part of a great team with great coaches. I've had great training partners for years, and the opportunities are just one by one coming. And man, I'm living the dream, man. Not many people get to say they have 6 belts, in their entire career, from the amateurs to the pros. um 4 title fights now. It's crazy. I have just as many title fights as I do non-title fights in my career. So I'm just very thankful, and at the same time, man, I'm hungry, I'm excited.
One thing that anyone can tell by watching you fight, man, you're such a well-rounded mixed martial artist. I mean, obviously on the hands, unbelievable. On the ground, you can handle your own with the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling as well. At what point in your career did you really start thinking, if I want to do this, if I want to do this right way, if I want to be a world champion, I need to be as well-rounded as possible?
When I was young, man, like I told you, man, I found this sport when I was like around 12 years old, and from the moment I saw, it was a fight between Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz for the belt way back in the day, and I don't even remember which one it was, because I know they fought a bunch of times, but all I remember is at the end of it, they wrapped Tito Ortiz with that belt, and it was my first time seeing cage fighting. I'd seen boxing before, I'd seen kickboxing, PKA kickboxing, the one where they wear the long, pants and stuff like that, but I'd never seen MMA. So the minute I saw them wrap that belt around Tito Ortiz's waist, I was like, I'm winning that belt, man. That one right there, that belt is going to be mine. And, we racked up a couple of them so far, but, we still want that big one.
You mentioned Tito Ortiz, and I think what was great about Tito Ortiz, I think he kind of impacted mixed martial arts because at the time that was like one of those first bad guys or heels or negative personalities, I guess you could say. Now we're in a world where MMA personality and entertainment is such a big part of it. Obviously, there's shows like every single week. You have guys now putting on characters. They're being a character. They're being somebody they're not because they know that's what it takes to get a title shot. That's what's
Yeah.
going to make them more money. How do you think personality and entertainment has impacted combat sports?
I will say this: it's made the sport big, right? You look at Conor McGregor; he's taken the sport from like one level to another, man, and just made it so loved by the casual audience. And but the thing is, though, is some people take that and they try and be Conor McGregor, or they try and be someone else that they're not. We've seen guys like that before. I think one of the things that separates me from other people is I'm not trying to be anybody else. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be. Are there things that are similar between me and Muhammad Ali? Maybe. Are there things that might be similar between me and someone else? Maybe. But I don't copy. I don't rip, and I'm also not gonna sit here and get out of character. You know what I mean? What makes what I do so good is that it's just me. You know what I'm saying? I put my sauce on it. I put my little style on it, my charisma on it. But at the end of the day, man, like it separates me from everyone else because there is no other Turbo Phumi Nkuta. So there's no one else who talks like me. There's no one else who walks like me. There's no one else who does like me. And thank God I'm just myself. And at the end of the day, people end up loving it. So come on for the ride because there's more coming.
So many people watch combat sports now, especially mixed martial arts. And you have a new term now that we use called the casual fan. So these are the guys that are usually drunk. They're at B-dubs watching the fights. They like to be in
Yeah.
the cheap seats. They like to yell, twist them in the you know what. You're
Yeah.
crotch sniffing. He's humping. You've heard it all. They probably slide in your DMs daily. Overall, what do we think of these people? Is it just something where, okay, it's annoying, but at the end of the day, it's good for the sport?
Nah, man, I think casual fans are actually great for the sport. Look, in any market you're in, like you need the casual audience because they're gonna be the guys making you money. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be the guys like signing your paychecks. If you have a whole bunch of hardcore fans and nobody else, all right, cool. Like your fans might know what you're talking about, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have a very small subsection of people watching your product. So I welcome the casual fans. You know what I'm saying? Come on and watch the Turbo show. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be very entertaining for the hardcore fans who know exactly what they're looking for and what they're talking about. To the guy who just wants to get drunk and watch two people fight in a cage. If you tune in on UFC Fight Pass February 21st, you're in for one hell of a show.
I really think your style screams towards the casual fans because you're such a fun and exciting fighter to watch, man. It's never a boring fight when Turbo fights. You take a lot of pride in that.
Thank you so much, man. I try and make it fun just for you guys, but also I'm just a non-stop type of guy, man. My name's Turbo for a reason, so I got to keep the pace up.
How did that nickname get coined? Who came up with that?
It's actually like it's funny. I just said this story to someone else. It was kind of more like a bad joke. I used to when I was much younger. I used to take a kickboxing class with a guy named Eric Heyer, and you know, before I was able to get as good as I was now, I would just try and rush a lot of techniques, right? So if it was jab cross hook, I would throw that jab cross hook as fast and as bad as I possibly could. Like it wasn't looking technique was not looking good, but it came out really fast. And I remember one time he just looks at me, man, as he's correcting people, and he goes, "You're looking good, but like slow down there, Turbo." And then ever since then it was kind of like almost like a joke, like yo, like slow down, Turbo, like you're rushing the combos, you're not doing it well. Slowly but surely, man, the nickname just stuck, and everyone just kept calling me Turbo. Now all these years later, if you look at it, I'm pretty fast, and everyone just loves it, sticks with it. It fits.
Absolutely. Last time we saw you in MMA contest was last June. Since
Yeah.
then, Cage Warriors, you did a little bit of grappling. You did a bunch of grappling contests. What was that experience like?
Oh man, it was just good to stay busy. Good to stay busy, stay rolling, stay hungry. You know, fighting anybody who's fighting anybody in any sport, man. Whether it's jujitsu, whether it's professional wrestling, whether it's MMA. I just want to stay busy, and that's what I took all those grappling matches for, man. At grappling against heavier people, higher weight classes. But at the end of the day, I'm a dog, so I don't really care. Whoever it is, just bring it. Whatever sport it is, bring it.
One thing I think that separates you from a lot of guys is, when you look at the regional scene, a lot of times, you look at guys and you see them having these 9-0 records, 11-0 records, but then you look at their list, and I mean, they're being hand fed opponents. They're fighting
Yep.
guys who are like 0-5, 5-12.
Yep.
You've seen this. did not do that. You fought
Yeah.
guys with very good records, or very dangerous and kind of risky fights for where you're at in your career. Do you feel that's just what you have to do to make it to the UFC?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't. I don't think that's what I have to do to make it to the UFC, but I think that's what I'm doing, and that's what separates me from everybody else. When you look on the regional scene, you got guys who are winning regional titles off of guys who are 2-2. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna call yourself the best? And I don't know, man. That's, to me, that's kind of disgusting. Like, I would never, I wouldn't even call myself a champion if I beat someone who was 2-2 for a belt. That's not what champions do. You know what I'm saying? Like me, you want to be a champion, you really want to be the best. You fight the best. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that's all I've ever done. Whether it was Alberto Trujillo, who came from Alliance MMA, with Eric Del Fierro, Dominic Cruz, you know what I'm saying? Angelo Overkill, who just got a win yesterday. Like, those are the people that I'm fighting. You know what I'm saying? Even Jesse Tafoya, his record, I think, was maybe 6-5. But if you look at his record, he was, before he fought me, he was on a 6-1 tear. You know what I'm saying? Where in the fight before me, he beat a guy who was undefeated and won that peak flyweight title. And he had most of his losses come at featherweight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm over here fighting guys with broken hands, and you know what I'm saying? And I get it. Some people just want to pad their records. But the difference is like, those guys, whenever they fight someone good, they're gonna get tested. And you know what I'm saying? The real challenge is gonna come out then. For me, I know what it's like to dig deep. I know what it's like to have to fight the best. I know what it's like to have to fight the cream of the crop, the people who are tough, people who are strong, short notice weight cuts, 5-round fights, 4-round fights. It doesn't matter, man. Like, for me, I know I'm tested. And on top of that, I know I'm tested against guys like Marab in the gym, Aljamain Sterling at the gym. You got guys like Delemy. You got beasts in our gym who push me on a daily basis. These other guys can't say that. They ain't fighting the competition I'm fighting. They ain't fighting on the level I'm fighting. And, they can keep taking those 0-5, 2-2 fights. I'm the best flyweight in the world, man. Eventually, those guys, if they really want to be a champion, they're gonna have to run into a guy like me, and I'm a truck without brakes, baby. I'm rolling through everybody.
I feel like so many people watching the sport, and I feel like a lot of these casuals, they look at the big names, right? The John Joneses, the Marabs, the Sean O'Malley's, and they're like, wow, it must be incredible to be a fighter. That must be the best lifestyle ever. Little they know. I mean, battling it on the regional scene is one of the most ruthless, hardest things you could do. Most guys are losing money fighting on the regional scene.
Absolutely.
As you're probably aware, you're not making millions of dollars fighting on the regional scene. A lot of guys have that 9 to 5 job. Some have kids. Some have a wife.
Yeah.
You have to pay to train. You have to wake up early, stay up late, do this almost every single day just for the chance to chase it, just for the chance to fight in the UFC or a bigger promotion. You've been doing this for 10 years now. You are knocking on the door of the UFC. Why have you kept on kicking and punching this long?
Come on, man, because I got no other way to live. You know what I mean? Like, some people, man, like, look, it's a saying, and you've heard it before. We talk about gimmicks. Some people really go out there and they say like, "Oh, I live for this, and I'll die for this, and this is my life." Other people, they actually really live it, man. And I think I'm proof of that. Like, this is my life. You know what I'm saying? You ask anybody who's been in the ring with me, they'll tell you when they feel the power that I bring and the pace that I bring, this is my life. If you see me train, you realize this is my life. You see me on camera, you see me on the microphone and in that ring, you realize, man, like, this really is my life. Like, I've been doing this for no money. Uh, it'd be nice to get paid for it, but I think that's the difference between me and all these other guys is, this really is my life. And for these guys, man, that want to, parade around and act like fighters, that's cool. But you're eventually going to have to run into a real fighter like me who's, I don't got no plan B. I don't want a plan B. This is my life, and you're going to have to rip this thing from me.
So you're taking on Adrian Garcia on Saturday, LFA 202 flyweight main event. Overall, what do you think of him as an opponent?
I think he's gonna be game. I'm actually really excited for this one, man. He's gonna be game. He's gonna be ready. I know he's gonna want to keep this one standing. So let's go, man. I'm very excited for this, and he's got a good record. Again, like I said, this ain't a guy who's 2-2. You know what I mean? He's got an 8-2 record. He's been in there. He's got a great team behind him in the Goat Shed, who's actually building a lot of steam now in the MMA industry. So let's go. Two top teams, two top dogs, but one guy's gonna break, and it ain't gonna be me.
Stylistically, how do you like this one?
I love it. I love it. Look, man, there's a lot of stuff that, I could say it, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. There's a lot of stuff that I really like. My coaches and I, Ray Longo and everybody, we really want to show certain things in that ring. And I think this fight is going to be the perfect fight to show not just my team, not just, any doubters around, but to anybody who's watching, whether it be the UFC brass or fans, they're going to watch this fight and they're going to be like, yeah, that guy's the best flyweight in the world.
Right now you're an 8-0 prospect. Obviously, with a win next weekend, you'll be 9-0.
Yeah.
In the summer, we start the Dana White Contender Series. A lot of 8-0, 9-0, 10-0 guys fighting in that. Going into this, do you guys kind of have an idea this could be the last one on the regional scene?
I mean, I thought that for the last one. I thought that one for the last one before that. Look, at this point, man, it don't matter. I'm here to fight. You know what I'm saying? It could be on Contender Series. I'm here to fight. It could be on Tough. I'm here to fight. Bro, it could be in a back alley. It don't matter to me, man. You make 125 pounds, you're lunch meat to me. So it doesn't matter. Any place, any time, I'm game. It's turbo time.
What I think is so interesting about your 125-pound division is for a while there when Demetrius Johnson was in the UFC, I think fans were kind of getting a little restless of it because he was such a dominating force to be dealt with. Obviously he left. They did that trade and he went to one. And now, that division, it's revitalized almost. I mean, there's so many competitive fights. And that's, to me, like one of the, I think, the more premier divisions in the sport now. For you, is it exciting to be able to potentially even think about getting in there and mix it up with guys like that?
Oh man, for years, man. Look, I would have loved to have mixed it up with Mighty Mouse back in the day and Ray Borg and all those guys. But now there's a whole new generation of flyweight. So I would love to mix up with Brandon Moreno. I would love to mix it up with, Royval and Manel Kopp. All these guys, man, that are into the division now. These are the fights that I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I said before, man. These guys are over here fighting guys who are 2-2, 0-5. Those aren't the fights that I want. I want to fight Manel Kopp. You know what I'm saying? I want to fight Brandon Royval. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking for easy fights. I want the best because I truly believe I am the best. And it's like Ric Flair said, man, you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And anybody in my path, I'm looking to beat. So, end of the day, I'm game. 125 pounds, I'm in there, man. Like, I really don't care who it is.
For you, what's the ultimate goal?
Come on, man. Greatest of all time. It's not even a question. Like, even winning that UFC belt would be cool. But, come on, man. Like, I feel like right now you have guys like Mighty Mouse who have made such a big wave at 125. Pantoja made such a big wave at 125. I want to have a better career than both of those guys. And they've already done so much. They're already, you know what I mean? It's like making my work cut out for me. Now I know that if I want to be as good as Mighty Mouse, I got to clean everybody up the way he did. I got to clean everybody up the way Pantoja did. And what's different, man, is what separates me from Mighty Mouse, what separates me from Pantoja is I think I could clean out that division the same way those guys are, but I would do it way more entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, and no offense to those guys, they're good. Mighty Mouse is good. Pantoja is good. But they can't walk to walk like me, man. They can't talk to talk like me. Like, it's just different. There's a different level of swag. There's a different level of sauce. I think those guys are good, and don't take this the wrong way. I think they're amazing, and I love watching them fight. But they ain't a casual viewers type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? Me, you put me in the ring with them, I'm bringing the casual audience in. People are going to love the way I talk. People are going to love the way I fight. And I just think me in general at 125 pounds is much different than anybody else at 125 pounds because nobody at that weight class can talk, man. I'm just going to keep it real with you. They can't talk, and they especially can't do it like me. So put me in there, and I'll show everybody otherwise. Look, man, whether it's in a ring or in a press conference, I'm staying undefeated in that UFC. Come on.
Before I let you go here, I'll be kicking myself. I didn't ask. So obviously, you train at Longo's Mixed Martial Arts. For me, that's one of my favorite guys. That's one of my favorite managers. I just love watching Longo, Matt, Sarah interact together. Those two in
Yeah.
a room together, I think, is the funniest thing on this planet. Do you have any stories? Do you have any maybe some funny moments of those two guys at training camp or being around them? You got anything crazy?
Bro, you know what's funny, man? Is like there's too many to name. Like every time they're like just together, it's almost like a treat at this point, man. Is I just sit back just like this and I just watch the two of them interact. You know what I mean? And I will say this, like I don't maybe I guess have like a detailed story, but I will say like one time for one of my fights I had Matt in the corner, and it was Ray, Matt, and I think Steve Lee, and I just remember being in the back, and I was nervous because it was my second title fight. I was I was 3-0 at that point, going on to be 4-0. I'm in the main event, and I just remember just being nervous, man. I was just young, and I was so nervous at that time, especially in my career, and because I just put so much pressure on myself. But it's like here I have Ray and Matt in the back, and they're just making so many jokes, and they're just BSing around. And I just remember looking at those two laughing, and I'm laughing, and I'm like, man, it ain't much to be nervous about. Like I'm chilling right now, So they have a good way of just taking the load off you, man, just taking that pressure off, just because they're so chill. You know what I mean?
In a perfect world, what is the outcome when you make your LFA 202 debut against Adrian Garcia?
You are going to see the performance of a lifetime, man. Like I don't wanna call exactly what it's gonna be because I don't want to ruin the game plan because we have a lot of tricks in up our sleeve. But look, man, after this one, it's gonna be one of those ones where there's no doubt. Like everyone's gonna be saying, this kid is the best flyweight in the world. Pantoja might have that belt, but that guy right there, he's real at 125.
Awesome. Well, hey, Phumi, man, thank you so much. I know you got weight kind going, probably so many things to do before this fight, but I appreciate your time, brother, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely. That's it for us today. That is Mr. Turbo. He is Phumi Nkuta. Watch him. LFA 202. Huge fight. You'll see him in the UFC too. I'm Carl Prusa. Take it easy, fight fans.